What's up, guys? We are Tottenham TV here, outside of Wembley, previewing the big game on Wednesday between Spurs and Chelsea at Stamford Bridge here. You all know this guy by now, Louis from 100% Chelsea, and we're with Scott. How are you guys doing? You all right?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having us, mate.
Very good.
Good to have you guys on. All right, so you guys were here yesterday for the Carabao Cup Final. It was a disappointing day for you, but what do you make? Let's kick off. What do you make of the whole Kepa Sarri thing? Do you think it's been blown out of proportion, or do you think it's a serious issue that Sarri's got to deal with?
I think it's an issue at Chelsea. I understand why people are saying it's a misunderstanding. I think it's a PR move from Sarri to say it was completely misunderstood. From what I saw, from the body language, from everything, it just seemed like a very vicious argument and something which, again, should be kept up private. You should be throwing boots at each other in a dressing room, not on a pitch at Wembley in a cup final in the last minutes of extra time. You know, if the guy went down twice, he had a pre-existing injury before the game, and it's kind of a case of, look, if I was in Sarri's position, I would have done the same thing. I would have sat there and gone, look, he's gone down with cramp once, he does it again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It's a case of Willy Caballero is a seasoned penalty stopper as well. He won the cup with City by stopping 3 penalties. He's done it for Chelsea on occasion as well. So I personally think the whole situation isn't great. But for me, the person I feel most sorry for is Willy Caballero. The guy apparently went off down the tunnel in tears, nearly in tears. It's not. I think he was the one that was made to look stupid in front of 80,000 people plus whoever's in the, watching live on TV. It's ridiculous.
What great. Caballero's crying. Nice one.
Pretty much.
Do you think Kepa's going to play on Wednesday?
I think he will. I think that people are calling him for drops, never to play again. I think that's a bit harsh. I think that never to play again, especially. But yeah, I think that, especially after what was said in the press conference, what was said by Sarri saying that it's not going to be disciplined, I think that I can see him playing. Against Fulham, I'd maybe drop him, but that's another game. But yeah, I think he'll probably will play.
All right, but looking at the game on Wednesday, there was a lot of talk, definitely before the Carabao Cup Final, that Sarri had lost the dressing room, and Chelsea were. Sarri was. There were even suggestions that he could lose his job. Like you were looking at other managers, Lampard. People were saying you were looking at. Given your performance on Sunday, do you think those rumours are wide of the mark, and do you think it could be a turning point?
It really depends. Sorry, excuse me, voice crack. It really depends. Look, I think for me, it's too early for Lampard. Lampard needs more time to develop as a manager. He's had a fantastic half season at Derby, but give him a little bit longer. I think Sarri is the manager to lay the foundations at Chelsea. He's been brought in to develop a philosophy. You can't. You got pay no pain, no gain. I think it's kind of a case of that's the way I look at it now. And based on what he did yesterday, look, he adapted to the situation, and the fact that it was pretty much all logical substitutions rather than what we're seeing, which was Davide Zappacosta for Aspilicueta, or the same Barkley for Kovacic substitution, the most made substitution in the Premier League. It's kind of a case of we were seeing a development, and he brought on Hudson-Odoi and offered something fresh, and I think it's another reason why Chelsea fans, as well as the performance, are so proud, because we went into that game thinking we'd get absolutely battered. We turned up, and as well as that, you saw youth players on the pitch. You saw people that give a bit of pride, have a bit of passion, and for me, it's kind of a case of, I am sorrying, but that's only because there is no one else out there. Because I've been very vocal in terms of how he's not made the right substitutions, because he has had many inept performances over the past few years.
Are you sorrying for now as well, Scott?
Me, I'm personally sorry out before the game, but I can't, even after that performance, I can't fault him or the players. I thought that he got everything absolutely right yesterday, apart from the obvious, the situation with Kepa.
Do you think that Sarri has a point there when he points to people saying that Arsenal are having a decent season, yet you're kind of in a better position than Arsenal in most competitions?
I can see
your levels are different.
I can see his point, but for me, there's a different level in terms of from the board. I think that's where the difference comes, because for me, we've seen this season specifically, maybe not in January, but at the start of the season, the board for Arsenal went out and spent loads on loads of players. They went and bought loads, and I know we did for a few players, Jorginho and Kepa, but in the whole of the 2 windows, we bought 5 players, 4 of which only actually play for our club, and 2 of those are on loan. So it's only 2 buys technically in 2 windows. It's better than you, but
you've got a transfer ban now. So.
Yeah, but that's why I feel like the Arsenal board will back Emery a lot more than our board will back Sarri.
Financially, though, I don't think Arsenal they don't have the power. They've said that already. They've gone for the self-sustainable approach, which is what we're trying to do. and it's not worked out for them. And I think it's kind of a case of, look, historically, the way we're playing at the minute, the way we are, we kind of are turning into Arsenal a little bit in terms of the mentality as well. And yeah, I know you're laughing, and it hurts to say, but it's true. And I think our self-sustainable approach is something which has cost us in the past. And obviously we've got FFP to deal with and stuff, but we still should have the financial power to go and contest our players. Not on the same level as City or United or Real Madrid, but we still should be able to put our name in the hat to sign these amazing players which can add a bit of impetus to our club.
Do you think maybe Chelsea need to start looking more of a long-term approach as opposed to always constant short-termism that has won you trophies, but at the end of the day you've got a transfer ban now, and if you can't go chopping and changing managers who's not going to have any money to spend?
Well, this is the time to make those changes. Like I said, Sarri's there to implement a philosophy. If he implements that philosophy,
Sarri ball.
Don't call it that. I hate that term.
He hates it as well.
Yeah, no, he doesn't know what it is. So I don't know what he's talking about. What's going on?
Your manager doesn't even know.
No, it's a joke. But I think it's kind of a case of, look, if he's there to implement a philosophy through another year, I'm not judging him on his performances this year as a manager. I'm judging it next year. I think it's kind of a case of we need to really analyse how it works. If we do get obviously we are going to get it. It's a case of when it comes in. If it comes in the window afterwards and Sarri's not doing a good job, that's when I'd look at Lampard and Jody Morris and turn around and say, look, we want you guys to come in. This is going to be a long-term project. It has to be. This is the time we have some of the best youth, if not the best youth on the planet, in my opinion. No, and that's the issue. We've got Christensen in the squad. We've got Loftus-Cheek. We've got Hudson-Odoi. If he's going to sign a new deal, who knows? He's only got a year left. Look, Bayern could offer us 40 million in January. If he's not going to sign a deal, they'll pay us a few million in compensation in 6 months' time. So it's kind of a case of we need to try and get him to sign a deal. You've got the likes of Mason Mount, Tamori, Reece James. There's some fantastic players out there for Chelsea in the youth system and out on loan. But now it's just a case of we need to start using them and trying to implement them into the system.
When you say, though, I know you said you're Sarri out, but when you say, given the fact that you have a transfer ban, it would make more sense to keep him, because at least then you have something that you're building towards instead of starting again and then relying on all these youth players like Louis saying. You're going to have to rely on them, but at least you can put them into a team that has a philosophy and has a way of playing, as opposed to ripping up the scrapbook, ripping up the tactics book, starting again, and then trying to chop and change and build a philosophy around these youth players.
I do agree that there's only 2 points that I worry about, and that number one is that for the most part, we haven't seen Sarri use a lot of youth in his career, particularly at Napoli. The big moment we didn't see, like they had Zielinski, who was 20, coming through, and he preferred to have Hamsik, Jorginho and Allen, and kept that midfield for the majority of the season. And another thing is that we've seen this season that Sarri needs a specific type of player to fit his system, and I worry that the youth that are coming in might not be quite what he needs. And then it's the same problems we've got now, it's just with a lot more players.
That's where he needs to adapt, though. That's where he needs to adapt. I mean, look, I think you look at the likes of City and the likes of Liverpool, they're the 2 best run clubs in the Premier League, which is why they're top of the table. And it's kind of a case of that they have a good balance between youth prospects and brought in starting 11 players.
And they can also just spend 50 million on a substitute fullback.
Yeah, but I mean,
that helps.
No, but sometimes you have to do it. And if you want to be at the top, you need to put your money where your mouth is. That's the nature of the beast. And I think that if you look at it, I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is a prime example. You've got him, James Milner. You've got Fabinho who can play there. You've got some quality and depth. I think it's kind of a case of Chelsea. If we do get the ban and we don't get it this summer and then move it to the January window, we have to be running around like headless chickens. We have to be doing a Black Friday in the middle of summer. And I think if we get that, we find those right balance in terms of the players that Sarri needs to implement the system. But I think Chelsea need a change in policy, almost the same as Manchester United, where you have to have a youth player on the bench, or you have to have a youth player in the 11 every single time, because we need to start blooding them. So when the transfer ban does come in, if these players that we brought in financially don't cut the mustard, you can have these players which are there, which understand the club as well, and it helps alongside these players which are a good quality, obviously brought in for a lot of money into the Premier League.
All right, well, let's go to what team you're going to play on Wednesday. Obviously, I'm expecting 4-3-3 as you do every game. No surprises there. I think the only question marks really left back Alonso or Emerson. I get who started the final? Emerson started the final, so I'm assuming
Emerson.
he'll probably start again.
I would. I'd go the 11 that finished the final. So that would be. I mean, if it was me, obviously I'd drop Kepa, but I mean he's not going to be. I'm going to go realistic here. I'll go Kepa, Emerson, Louise, Rudiger, Aspilicueta, Kante, Loftus-Cheek, and Jorginho. Thank you, Scott. And Hazard, Higuain, Hudson-Odoi.
Higuain, how's he? You reckon Higuain's going to start on Wednesday?
I think he will. I think the final was a one-off to go back to the same system against City that won us that game. Yeah. But I think apart from that, I think Higuain will be starting pretty much every game apart from Europa League until we get towards the end of it. For me, I can see both fullbacks changing only because they both played 120 minutes, and we've already seen this season with Dave that he has struggled a lot when coming off back-to-back games, and that's 90 minutes. So I can see Zappacosta, as long as he's fit, coming in.
Oh, Scott!
Good news for us,
Shut
eh?
up!
Don't give Sarri any ideas.
To be honest, I think in that position we're kind of screwed either way. You've got someone who's going to not be fit, or you've got Zappacosta. And I can see Alonso playing on the other side, so we've got the two worst players in our club playing. Brilliant. But apart from that, I agree with Lou. I think the front six should be the six that ended the game.
No Willian or Pedro in the starting 11?
I'd have Pedro on the bench. Willian shouldn't play for Chelsea anymore.
Really? That bad?
Willian, he's past it, in my opinion. He's a good option to have, there's no doubt about it. But the thing which angered me the most was, people are saying it was 50 minutes afterwards. After the final, you see the likes of Hazard, head in hand, sitting on the pitch, and Willian's laughing with Pep Guardiola. Shows poor mentality for me, and even if they're saying it's 50 minutes after final, it's 50 minutes after final. You have just lost. You're not going to be bouncing off the walls with joy 15 minutes after you lost the final if you're a professional player and you care. Get paid as much as he wants. If that's what he's there for, go get the paycheck elsewhere. But I think the reason he's still here is because he knows he can't get that paycheck elsewhere. I don't understand why we didn't take the money from Barcelona or PSG in the past 2 windows. It's mad. It's absolutely mental.
60 million you rejected.
60 million.
Can you see fatigue playing a big part for Chelsea on Wednesday? You played 120 minutes here on the final. Could that affect you badly, do you think?
I think in certain positions it can. For example, I think the three that come to mind are the two centre-backs and Jorginho. Particularly Jorginho. He had a great game yesterday, but I think that particularly with how you played, how Ali played, if he's playing or if someone else is playing against him in the past, I think that could be a problem.
All right. Well, what's your prediction then for Wednesday?
I'll take a draw. I'm going to go either 2-1 Chelsea or 1-1.
Would you reckon that's enough for you to get top four?
I've written off top four already.
Really? What's your prediction?
I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1 as well.
I think that we can... I think you'll probably score first. We'll nick one back and then probably just sit back. Similar to what we did yesterday.
You've written off top four already?
Mm-hmm.
Really 1 point? Well, how many 1 point behind Arsenal?
It's Man United are looking too good. They're looking strong. Even though they basically were dropping like flies against Liverpool, I still think there's enough depth and quality in that team to really push them for that top four spot. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's done a fantastic job, and it'll be ludicrous if he doesn't get it. Arsenal, I think, going forward, they're just so prolific. It's an amazing, with the likes of Aubameyang and Lacazette. They've got a fantastic team, and they also have the strength and depth midfield. He's a very young prospect, but he's a very good player. Guendouzi, for example, if you got Xhaka's not great, but you've got him. You've got Iwobi, who's not great, but if he turns up, he's good. Mkhitaryan, there are some great players there, even if they aren't performing at the minute. And the same goes for us. We're in the same boat as Arsenal, where we may not be so prolific going forward. I think Higuain makes some very intelligent runs, but Jorginho is looking to make those balls. But if he carries on the way he did after that City game, then I'll be thoroughly impressed with him. But I think it's kind of a case of, we don't have we have Hazard, and that's it. We don't really have a lot else going for us.
Do you think you'll prioritise the league or Europa League from now to the end of the season?
I honestly don't know. To be honest, I'd like to say he'll prioritise the Europa League, but I think he'll probably try and do both. Whether that comes back to bite us in the arse, I don't know. I could see it doing a little bit in some games, in some of probably the smaller league games, against the likes of they're not the smaller clubs, but like Wolves, Cardiff away. I can see if they turn up like they did against Arsenal, I can see them maybe nicking something. Other games like that.
All right. Cheers for coming on, guys. That was your opposition preview for the game on Wednesday. Go check out 100% Chelsea. We have some content for the preview on their channel. And as always, come on you Spurs. Come on you Spurs.